Alright, what's going on, boys and girls? We're here with another reaction video. I have no idea how this is going to be. This is something I just found, and the title intrigued me enough that I wanted to take a look at it. It is called Linux is Missing These Features Which Windows Has. Well, let's see what features he's talking about. I got a distinct feeling it's going to be the typical ones I generically hear about. I hope they at least give some good fucking points. Well, let's find out. Probably not, but end of the world. Who knows?
This is Bugsbyte, and this is a video describing about the features that are present in Windows but absent in Linux. These
I don't know what's more fucking annoying already. The Christmas music or the Alvin and Chipmunks robotic voice. Oh my fucking Christ. Where is the mute button? I wish I could not watch this already, but unfortunately I started this, so I'm gonna finish this. Oh, God help me. At least hopefully his points are halfway decent.
features are in accordance to people out there, and not my personal opinions. So let's get started. Number 1, gambling. The number one thing that is missing in Linux is gambling. I'm not really a gaming kind of person, so the fact that gaming isn't as good in Linux isn't a hiccup for me. But for gamers, it is a big deal. I know one few die-hard Linux or BSD users who nonetheless have a Windows machine, just so they can game. SteamOS is present, but it is definitely not a competitor to Windows. I'd say that DirectX is the single biggest advantage Windows has going for it, and the reason why Windows continues to dominate the gaming world. DirectX was designed to give gamers what they want, which is to give the most bang for the buck in graphics performance. Essentially squeezing every drop of juice out of bare metal possible to meet a gamer's satisfaction. Also, when Microsoft designed DirectX, they had the advantage of having complete control over the entire OS architecture. So they could ensure that nothing in the OS would interfere with the ability of DirectX to squeeze out every bit of performance. OpenGL is an open source alternative to DirectX, and was not designed keeping gamers in mind. OpenGL was originally designed for workstation rendering applications. As such,
Homie, for the love of God, if you're gonna do videos, nut up, man up, woman up, choose whatever gender you want to be, don't care, and just do a fucking video with a normal fucking voice. Holy fuck. And get some music that is less fucking annoying. God, I hate Christmas 99% of the time, so I want to listen to it more? Motherfucker.
it lagged in performance on consumer hardware. Over the years, that has changed as consumer hardware has gotten much more powerful, and also as a few high-profile game developers backed OpenGL. In a recent benchmark I read, OpenGL was beating DirectX very slightly, but DirectX now has a huge momentum factor behind it, since a ton of game developers cut their teeth on it, and also because Microsoft has close relationships with the hardware manufacturers. Even if OpenGL becomes more dominant, that probably won't help the Linux gaming market much, because OpenGL on Windows still runs better than OpenGL on Linux. Number 2, software.
Okay, so out of all of that, the big advantage is DirectX. Vulkan, that's all I'm gonna say. DXVK, all I'm gonna say. End of the day, your entire argument is for DirectX. The reason DirectX became the standard bearer for the graphics APIs is when you have 95% of the desktop market that things are built upon, guess what? And you say, here's our API, guess people are going to use it. It's not about what is always the best alternative or what is the better technology. It's about what has more standards, what has more, there's 500,000 other things that can go into that. Microsoft having close relationships for drivers and with OEMs and ODMs and all the other stuff to make sure shit worked in Windows, and 10 plus years of active dominance from 95 to probably until the Mac came back in like 2006, 2007 time as a viable alternative. That dominance for that amount of time is going to get a generation, at least a few generations of developers on that tech, and that's it until it's finally phased out, which was DirectX. OpenGL, pros and cons. OpenGL is an open standard, but yes, it also requires hardware manufacturers to actually want to support the fucking thing. And it's this weird thing. They don't. Or if they do, it's half-assed. Same with the driver situation on Linux versus OpenGL on Linux versus Windows, etc. It's about licenses. It's about all the other bullshit that is tied to technology. It's not about superior because of X, Y, or Z. It's a lot of legalese and a lot of dumb. So anyway, let's roll into your next one, which is applications.
Applications. Many software applications are designed keeping the popular OSes in mind, like Windows and macOS, leaving out Linux and BSDS. It's less of a problem for Linux than it used to be, as Linux is growing in popularity these days.
I would recommend, if you're gonna say applications, specify applications. What specific? If you're just gonna say, Adobe, like the Creative Suite as a whole, okay. Final Cut as a whole, okay. That is what you need to talk about, not just applications. Well, which fucking ones?
I can say that there are many FOSS alternatives to the proprietary software, like we have LibreOffice instead of Microsoft Office Suite and GIMP for Photoshop. These old
fucking no. GIMP is not a replacement for fucking Photoshop. Get that fucking bullshit nonsense out of here. I will not say that you cannot use GIMP for professional work. I would not say that. But GIMP is no Photoshop. The lack of non-destructive editing is a big feature missing in GIMP. Now, my understanding, now this has been talked about forever, that GIMP is trying to implement that. But to me, that is like a core feature of any image manipulation program. And the fact that it doesn't have it says volumes about it. As far as LibreOffice being an alternative, it depends what you need. If you are a hardcore Microsoft Office user, certain macros and other things are not going to work in LibreOffice. Certain formattings are not going to work in LibreOffice, etc. And I will go one further and say the presentation software for, was it LibreOffice Draw, whatever the hell it is nowhere near as good as it could be. And that is just a sad fact. But overall, for everyday users, LibreOffice is fine, GIMP is fine. You can even do professional work on GIMP. You can do professional work on LibreOffice. But to say we're missing features, or that their feature compare, the features compare, they don't. Something lacks something, and it just depends. I'm not ever going to say you can't do professional work on open source software, because that's a load of shit too. But it depends on the type of user you are.
Alternatives are capable of everything that you could do with the proprietary software, but it just...
Again, no. Not all the FOSS, FLOSS, OSS, whatever you want to call it, are as capable of, feature parity with the proprietary applications. That is just fucking wrong. Flat out. You are wrong. There are plenty of, depending on what you're comparing those applications to. Kden Live, I would compare more personally to an iMovie, or a better version of an iMovie. Has more features and functions and not as feature rich as, say, something like Premiere Elements, or that kind of thing. There are certain things that you can compare them to, but you cannot compare these to other proprietary applications. You have to look at things like DaVinci Resolve or Lightworks. You have to find stuff that is feature parity, par for par.
Just takes some time to learn these, just because you are used to the ones you have been using on Windows or Mac OS. You can install some software like Photoshop or MS Office in Linux with the help of Wine, but it doesn't always work. I got Photoshop to run fine on my system, but failed to run MS Office. Number 3, Cortana. This is particular to Windows 10. I know that most of them don't use Cortana as much, but I just felt I need to include in this list. According my research, I've not found any best alternative to Cortana that could do all that Cortana.
Best alternative to Cortana? Called not using it. Cortana is a waste of time, resources, and the fact that it's basically it's Microsoft's version of Google Now, or whatever fucking AI, Google AI thing it is, or Alexa, or Siri, etc. No. Cortana is not a feature. Ask how many Windows users shut it off. Because I can tell you right now, the machine that's sitting right here has it shut the hell off. It loses its novelty after the install. Cortana's not a feature. It drains features and resources probably, so that's about the only feature it has, is it drains shit off my system, and it likes to log everything that it doesn't need to.
Cortana can. So I just include this in my video. To be honest, these three are the only ones that are missing in Linux. I hope this video was helpful to all of you, and thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell notifications for all the new uploads.
Just wow. Short version, they're all the same typical bullshit reasons I've heard. Application games, etc., etc. Here's the long short of it. Applications, it depends if you're open-minded or not. In games, it depends on whether or not you're open-minded or not. You have to approach switching technologies like anything else. You have to be open-minded, or else you're going to fail from the start. So for me, I'm more than open-minded to switching to Linux. Hell, I'm doing this video on it. So at the end of the day, these are not, to me, reasons, or really valid reasons, depending on who you are as a user. If you are a straight up hardcore gamer and you want every single one of your games in Linux to work in Linux, that's just not going to happen. Stick with Windows, it's fine. If you are stuck in the Adobe sphere, or if you're stuck with X, Y, or Z application like Final Cut in Mac OS or in Windows, then stick with it. It's fine. But to say we have feature parity with a lot of the open source alternatives, compared to those high-end productivity tools, depends what kind of user you are. But just to blindly state that, Kden Live is going to be as good as Adobe Premiere, no, or as good as Final Cut, no. I would say look at something like DaVinci Resolve, or something like Lightworks, which both work on Linux. If you're looking for your, say, After Effects type of program, look at Blender, then look at Nuke. There are plenty of other alternatives that are available. You just have to look, and whether or not they're going to do what you need them to. But that takes learning, and that's something a lot of people don't want to do, but it's something people got to do. So again, to me, this is just the typical BS reasoning. It all depends on the user, and at whether or not at the end of the day, every platform switch is going to have a certain amount of sacrifice. What are you willing to sacrifice for that switch for something better, or what you view as better? And that's really what it boils down to at the end of the day. For me, I made the switch specifically because it works. This particular setup I have here works best for Linux. And that's what it boils down to at the end of the day. For me, it's best tool for the job. And I do not give a rat's flying ass about whether or not it's FOSS, floss, proprietary, open source, whatever. At the end of the day, for me, it's about getting stuff done. And Linux is the least hassle to do it. So, here's a question though. What are some legitimate reasons that you guys see that features that, say, the other OSs might actually have that Linux does not? Or more full-featured features that may be available in the other OSs that we don't? Comment below. But you guys know what to do. Rate up, subscribe. Peace out.